No.
We are live.
We are live. Say something,
Hello.
Ryan, because I'm trying to get the Instagram thing going live as well. It's here. Oh no, it's happening. It's happening.
Okay, something.
Yes.
Something. Yeah, you can say something.
We're
So
live
something.
on Instagram now too.
Say something, Ryan.
Oh, but it's
trying to get
oh
the
shit.
Instagram thing going.
Now I've got some audio situations going on.
It's happening. It's happening.
Oh.
Oh, is it all good now?
Okay, everybody. Hello, my name is Max. This is my wonderful friend and co-facilitator Ryan.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Max.
And this is the first time that I'm streaming to Facebook and YouTube and Instagram on StreamYard. So that was my little technical fumble at the beginning there. So welcome.
Well, we all have our first time for everything, including having money, maybe.
Do you remember your first time for having money, Ryan?
Well, kind of.
Like really having money?
Well, how do you define having money?
That is a really good question, but that's why it's sort of like a personal question of like, when did you first feel like you had money?
Well, for me, I still don't think like I have enough money.
Yes, I can relate.
Yeah, but of course, people will look at me like, "Oh, wow, you have a good life. I wish I could have something like that." Blah blah blah. And I'm of course always choosing more, desiring more. And yeah, what about you?
Yeah, interesting. Very similar thing actually. Like, well, probably around the first time I sort of like had the sense of I have money was probably 5 or 6 years ago. And so that's quite some years into like starting with Access. And I've been pretty crazy about money in my life and still am sometimes. Like I had a great conversation with Shannon this morning and we got some really cool stuff. Shannon's my wife, by the way, who's also an Access Consciousness facilitator, and she's great. Yeah, so like it's for me, it's this process, a continuing process. But the first time I felt I had money was like 5, 6 years ago. And then it's sort of been, now I have, a good degree more money, but it's like as my life grows, as my choices grow, also does my money and the inflow and the outflow. So it's sort of like and it's not like a lot of people tend to think it's like, oh, you're spending more money, you're buying more things. Yes, I might be buying more things, but it's also like creating a bigger life. One that works better for me.
Well, so for tonight, for me, it's my nighttime. For you, it's in the afternoon. So for tonight, for this Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and what else, live. So we have this title, Freedom with Money, which is a topic that I am really excited to talk about, because I see a lot of people, even though I think they are rich, or maybe they are really rich, but they don't necessarily have freedom with money. They are still very much being controlled by money. And sometimes because of the lack of freedom with money, it's like the more money that they have, like the more they lose the sense of freedom.
Right, exactly. So money for a lot of people can become an obligation or a burden.
Yep.
And I love that point. Actually, this conversation is not about you have freedom of money when you have a certain amount of money. This is not what we're talking about at all. Freedom of money is a being and a receiving and a having. It has nothing to do with the number. Like you can have freedom with money and have very little money.
Yep. So if you truly have freedom with money, it's more like money doesn't control you about for what you choose or not choose. Because sometimes people, when they have money, but they still worry about would I still have money tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. So what if you make the choice more about a sense of freedom in everything and about everything, and of course then includes money.
And I want to clarify as well, it's not that money does anything to you. Like money is never the problem. Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, wrote a book, Money is Not the Problem, You Are. And that's like one of the most probably correct statements around money that exists, is like it's never about money. If you think you have a money problem, it's never actually about money. And it took me quite a while to get this. Like we can think, oh, I don't have enough money in the account. I got to pay for this and I can't. And it seems like it's money, but it's actually our choices create where we are with our financial situation. And what Ryan and I are talking about with the freedom of money is, what if you were willing to be and create and have in a way that gains you freedom with money? It's not, like I said, having enough money or not having enough money. It's about having the freedom to choose no matter how much money is in your bank account, and recognizing that choice always comes before money. Okay. And this is huge. This is a huge topic. And so we're just touching on it, and we want to give you some pieces and bits that you can use and take away. And then, there's more possibilities.
So I have a question for people, for everyone watching. So it's like, how many of you believe that you cannot have freedom because you don't have money? So if you believe that you cannot have freedom because you don't have money, you still make money as something more powerful than you, as if that money determines what you can or cannot have in your life. But the funny thing is, actually, if you really choose freedom, money can come and support you to have more freedom. It's not the other way around. It's like if you choose happiness, money can and support you to have more happiness. Not that, oh, only when I have money, then I can be happy.
I don't know why I'm laughing right now, like why that's funny. I guess it's funny because I totally used to believe that. I wasn't very cognitive about it. It's not, I was like, well, I need to have money before I can be happy. But I definitely believed that, well, because I don't have the money, therefore I don't have X, Y, Z, including happiness. But it's such a lie that's perpetrated in this reality where it's like really like everything, like so much is about money and so much is about and then, but it's a lie. Like your choice comes first. So what actually would you like to choose? What would you like to, like, what if you asked for yourself, what is the life that I would like to live? And, would you like to be happy? Would you like to have, what sort of house would you like to live in? What sort of car would you like to have? And I'm also not speaking about like what you see on Instagram, because they have it, you should have it, or because the person next door has a bigger boat, therefore you need to have a bigger boat, because it's like some sort of, how big's your dick competition. It's more so like what's actually true for you. Like what would bring you joy to have in your life? For me, I'll give you a couple examples. For me, it's like the ability to travel, the ability to take care of my kids in a particular way, like to not have a sense of lack in my reality. Like one of the things that I grew up with and functioned from for a long time is, lack. There's something missing. I need. And that is also a lie. So one of my key things in my financial reality is that I will not buy into lack. When I notice lack creeping into my world, I will use the tools of access consciousness until that lack is gone and I'm in the question about what's possible and accessing my choice again, because that is the creative element. It's not that money is not the source of that creative element. That's me. And so when I get myself there, it's completely different. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Speaking of lack, lack is an energy that I was so used to my entire life, and even the first few years of learning access, I tried every tools that I had to like change it, to clear it. It was like something that kept coming back to me. But then, of course, finally it changed, which I'm very happy about that. And now, especially around this time, end of the year, like the holiday season, where a lot of people go crazy. Like sometimes the energy of lack, like it becomes more intense. A lot of people, they have to worry about, like, they have to buy gifts for people, but they don't have enough money, but they still want to buy gifts for someone because they want to please someone, or maybe they want to impress someone, So for all of you watching this live, so maybe try asking, who does that belong to, if you have been feeling really crazy for the last few days.
Yeah, or a few weeks even.
Yeah.
Because the Christmas season
is like that a lot, like with people, like this is like the intensity of the insanity is like way more than the other months.
It's really turned up. We actually went to like Shannon and the kids and myself went to London yesterday, and we live about like an hour and a half, depending on where you go in London, away from London in the country here, and we have like 10 acres. It's beautiful, a lot of birds, and it's this beautiful space. So we drove in yesterday, and then like to see the lights, because they have really beautiful lights along some of the streets there, and it was intense. There was like, I've never been in a city with that many people like out on the streets, things going on. And it wasn't necessarily bad, but I was super aware of the insanity, and like where people, like the need that they had to like buy the things, and the lack that was there for a while, but with the money so essentially the energy was like one of sort of contraction and stress, right? And it was a process being there to return to sender everything that didn't belong to me, everything that I was aware of as a psychic sponge, which I would say most of you guys watching this are as well. You guys are psychic sponges for what's going on in everybody else's heads and what they're choosing, to essentially weed out, okay, what's my reality and what's not my reality. I'm not talking about a cognitive process necessarily, like of trying to force a reality. It's creating the lightness of awareness of what's actually true for me, rather than the impending heaviness and stress that I was perceiving. So if you want a good exercise, go to London around this time of year and then use the tools.
I don't think it's just London. Basically, I think all the major cities will be the same, right?
Exactly. It's a really concentrated form of that insanity that Ryan was mentioning beforehand.
So in this case, if you happen to be at those places, you need to ask, who does that belong to, or is this mine? Like way more than any other time. One thing that I noticed is a lot of people, they would say like, yeah, I asked the question, I know it's not mine, but it keeps coming back. One thing I noticed is when it's this intense and this insane, like it's like everyone is buying into it and then sharing it to the next person. So it's like you buy it and then you share it with another person, someone else buy it and then they share it with another person. So it's like everyone's sharing it. So it gets more intense, like way more people are feeding that to you at the same time. So you need to be really like, do your best to be present and ask, okay, are any of these mine? Okay, so everyone like take a moment, like be really present. All the insanity that it could be about money or about anything, so that you have been sensing lately, ask yourself this question. So truth, are these yours?
Totally.
You cannot even tell like it doesn't belong to a specific person. It belongs to like so many people.
It's a shared belief that the more people believe in it, the stronger it becomes as a reality, and you perceive that reality more intensely. I want to add one more tool to that, which it really assists me as well, is adding more space. So it's not, you don't want to avoid or get away from or anything like that, because you have to like try and shut yourself down and contract and move away from whatever that is. And it doesn't really work. Plus you suffer more from the awareness. Add more space. This is the real key to really just like, no matter how shitty something feels, is like add more space, be more space, choose more space. And sometimes you need to be it quite aggressively. Okay, more space. And it's a choice you make. It's not something you demand of someone else. It's a choice that you make for more space. Okay? Because what you be also is impactful and will create what occurs. So you might not even be around a lot of people. You might also just be around family, right? And that's even more intense because it has this familiarity around it. And the more familiar something is, because you grew up with it, you tend to think like it's so much more. Yeah, I mean, familiar is the exact word.
It's not only. It's not just because of you're more familiar with them. Sometimes it's because of you really care about those people. You really want them to be happy. You don't want them to have all these worries. So then you might
trying to heal them.
Yeah, you try to change it for them, and then you think, why am I so crazy? Why am I getting more and more crazy? Yeah. So this is a very important time that you use all the tools that you have learned. Stay in questions. Know what's true for you. Know what's your reality with money, and don't buy into all these insanities.
Yeah, I'm also realizing that Ryan and I are speaking with the assumption that you know the Access Consciousness tools, and I'm becoming aware that not all of you guys are familiar with necessarily access consciousness and the tools, but we've spoken about a number of the tools already. So adding space, for example, and the question, who does this belong to? So any thought, feeling, or emotion that might come up for you that you're aware of, what if that's not actually yours? What if that's something you're picking up from somebody else? Even if it feels like it's been there like your whole life, that can still be an awareness of something else or someone else. Okay, so being in the question about these things, and then this other tool is called heavy and light. So you're essentially following what's light and not what's heavy, because if you follow what's light, you'll have more of that in the future. If you follow what's heavy, you're going to have more of that in the future. So if you, for example, if you're like, well, yes, it's mine, the lack is mine. Like, does that feel light or does that feel heavy? And if it feels heavy, it's a lie. If it's light, then it's true for you, not necessarily for everybody. It's not a truth, but it's true for you at that point. And that is a navigation tool for your awareness and your questions and your choices that can give you more ease and give you more clarity about what's actually true for you, rather than swimming in the carrot soup of insanity, thinking you're a carrot, right?
So just because everyone else is crazy, it doesn't mean you have to be crazy.
Exactly. And I mean, for me, like I said, it took me quite a few years of when I started Access Consciousness and learned about the tools, and I was doing classes fairly regularly. It took me quite some years to change some of my insanity, but I'm slow. I gotta be honest about that. I'm a little bit slow with getting some stuff sometimes, and I was a big fat mess when I started Access Consciousness, and choosing and having and creating more of my reality along the time has been super helpful to get what's actually mine, what's not mine, and not having to buy everybody else's stuff. So
what else?
we've covered a lot in this Facebook Live, like when we're talking about freedom with money and what that actually is and how that functions. I think that is so big, and so few people actually talk about it. It's choice that comes before money, not money that comes before choice. Yes, the more money you have, the more choices you have available to you, right? For example, if you have, I don't know how much. Oh, I think it costs like $250,000 to go down in a submarine and see the Titanic, and hopefully not implode. But there's, if you're earning $50,000 a year, dollars or pounds or whatever, it's different currencies. That might not be a choice that's available to you at this point. But if there is a choice that's like $250,000, or you'd like $1 million home or whatever it is, and the finances aren't there, what can you be and what choices can you make to have that in your future? So it's still the choice that comes before the money. Okay? It's never once you get the money, then you can make that choice. No, the choice to look at what is true for you and what you would like to have. And I'm not just saying the material things you'd like to have, also the reality you'd like to have. And I mentioned that earlier when we were talking about lack, and that's one of my primary things. When I notice lack come into my universe around money or anything, I fucking work on that real quick so it does not come in like a weed and start getting into my life, because that stuff sucks, and it's just not my reality. I know that now, so I don't have to let it come in and pervade things.
I don't know why. I just want to mention to everyone that the original title for this Facebook Live, initially we planned it as a Zoom, and then with the title like "Be so rich that no one can control you," that was supposed to happen maybe 2 weeks ago. So this is where so let's say you have enough of people around you controlling you with money. Okay, so this is where you really make a demand, make a different choice that would honor you for who you are, who you be, and then let money come and support you so that you don't have to eat shit just because of money.
Exactly. You don't have to be like this to other people. Please, can I have some more? You're actually creating your reality to the more that you would like.
So let's say right now, let's say you don't have this sense of freedom that you like to have, but it doesn't mean that you need to have money in order to choose that. You choose that first, and then demand yourself to create that, to keep moving toward that direction. And along the way, if you have learned some access tools before, maybe you can use the clearing statement, for example, to point everywhere that you wouldn't allow money to come and support you to have more sense of freedom and more sense of ease. Okay, so I would say that's the main purpose of having money. One of the main purposes of having money.
Yeah, totally. It's you can have the choices available to you that you would like without having to rely on anybody or, kiss somebody else's butt or whatever it is, like when you're a child, basically. And this is actually, my son is 16 years old, and this is a learning point for him. He actually they both started a new school 6 months ago, and before that he was actually working with me editing videos and stuff, and he was getting quite good, and he was like earning money and having money and buying the things that he'd like. But when he started this new school, he made this very deliberate choice. He goes, "Oh no, I'd like to stop working right now." And I was like, "Yeah, totally cool, totally your choice. I don't have a thing about him." But he's used his funds, and now he's like that he loves snowboarding. He loves, because they're living in Switzerland now, he loves snowboarding, all these different things, and with his friends and the stuff that he wants to do. So he's noticing this deficiency of money, and also that he's not able to make those choices that he would like to make as easily as when he was generating money in his life. So it's actually like this learning process for all of us. Like, what is it? First of all, what is it that you'd like to have in your life? What would you like your life to be like? And like I said, not just the material things. That's like just this part of it. Then it's the energies and the relationships, even like how you treat yourself. How would you like other people to treat you? All of these different things, that's what actually creates our life and the sort of the ease and the joy that we might have with our lives. And money supports all of that. It's not the source, it supports that. So it's a learning process for all of us to recognize, cool, what is the financial reality that will support my life? Cool. At the moment, sorry, there's one more thing real quick. We're planting 400 trees out the back here, and that is like a really exciting thing for us. Yeah, because we've got 10 acres. Most of it is like field where cows have been pasturing for quite some time, and part of that we're planting out with trees now, like really like oak trees. They're little seedlings at the moment, and we put another 50 in the ground today, and that's like this really cool thing, and the kids are helping with that, of like creating this different future. And so, because something that's really important to us is having more trees and having more wildlife, having more beauty in the world, natural beauty in the world like that. So that's something that's an ask for us.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So I think the last thing that I want to share, well, it's kind of like we already talked about that, but just want to summarize it. It's like, so every time if you catch yourself using money as the reason to convince yourself why you cannot choose something, this is where you are kind of like strengthening the lack, the poverty, the scarcity. So what if you will always commit to your own life to choose what works for you, know what you would like to have in your life, and then bit by bit work on that. Let's be realistic. I hope that we can have it like immediately, but sometimes we need to work on that. Okay, and let money come and support you to live the life that you would really like to have. And not just about the material life, but also about who you are, what kind of impact you would like to have on planet Earth as well.
Yeah.
So
totally. Cool. So I'm really loving this conversation, and I really appreciate you, Ryan, for like, it's so easy to have these conversations with you, and I know what you've been choosing in your life over the last, I think the first time I didn't meet you as such, but we were like on one of Shannon's telecalls was like 11 years ago. And what I've seen you create in that time and grow into and choose and continue to is like really awesome. So it's an honor to, have these conversations and also co-facilitate these classes. And the ones we're talking about at the moment is Right Riches for You classes, which is a specialty class of Access Consciousness, and where we take a deep dive into this whole topic of everything we've spoken about here and deeper, and give you the tools, more tools, to start generating that reality of riches and wealth for you. And that's, like we said, riches and wealth isn't just the money, it's the who you be in the world and what you would like to choose. So our next class, Right Riches for You beginning class, we're doing over 4 evenings in Dubai in January, starting on the 17th. And it's at the same time as Business Done Different class that Simone Millicis and David Kubez are facilitating. So we're sort of like, there's a whole milieu of classes. And after that, Grace Douglas is facilitating an advanced Access Consciousness Advanced Body class. And we're doing an evening time slot for this class for the 4 evenings, which I'm really excited about. So people can choose one or all classes as they wish. They're not overlapping in any way.
Yep. So it's like a mega Christian in Dubai with something about business, something about wealth, something about body. Hey, how does it get any better than this?
Totally. Yeah, if you really want to change your life and go to all classes, all of those. Yeah, it's big, really big. So what else? Oh, I want to mention one more thing too. Ryan and I are fortunate and smart enough to facilitate a Talk to the Entities beginning class with Shannon O'Hara. Shannon's my wife. She started Talk to the Entities, another Access Consciousness specialty class, like 20 years ago, right? So it's essentially the tools to deal with and be with the spirit world in a way that actually works. So that's happening in India, in Goa, starting on the 7th of January. So,
and available online as well.
Yes, sorry, live and online. So Goa on that live and everywhere online. 2.5 days of beginning class, and then Shannon will be facilitating a Talk to the Entities intermediate class, which goes for 1 day, and then 4 days of Talk to the Entities advanced, which is then, if you really want to go, that is the go. Yeah.
Wow, I learned Talk to Entities from Shannon, I think 11.5 years ago, maybe, and that changed my life completely. And how did I get so lucky that this time I'm co-facilitating this with you and Shannon? So I'm so looking forward to that.
Lucky and smart.
I didn't think I was smart at that time, but what did I know?
Yeah. We often tend to start things feeling that we're wrong as humanoids, and then we start to recognize how smart we actually are in the choices that we're making and what we know is possible. Cool. So thank you guys so much for
everyone
being on this, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram live. And how does it get infinitely better? We hope to see you somewhere live or online in the world at any time. Everybody has such a different rhythm with what they're choosing, what they'd like to create. And that's the beauty about these classes. Everyone's so different. The classes support you in whatever way you would like to be supported and what you would like to create. So you don't have to choose any classes. So much free stuff going on with Access Consciousness where you can get so much value and progress, even if you don't have the finances at this point. There's so many possibilities. So thank you guys so much. How does it get infinitely better? Thank you, Ryan. And see you guys around.
See you. Bye, everyone. Happy holiday.
Yeah. Happy, hopefully not so crazy holiday.
Yes.
Good luck.
Good luck.